Hey guys, we are here again with another video for both the beginning and the advanced band. And today we're going to focus on improvising. So say hey to Mr. West.
Hey everybody, hope you're ready for a great weekend. We're going to start it off with a little bit of blues.
This is really fun because you get to kind of tap into your creative side. And a lot of times students, especially younger students, are kind of nervous about improvising. They get intimidated by just being the soloist, but we're going to teach you some tricks to make it really fun. And we've got some tools that you can use to play along with a backing track. You'll notice there's a link as well to the music that we're showing you. It's just a couple scales that we call the blues scales. And it's very simple and very fun to use. So we're going to start with the first scale on the top of that page. This is for flutes and bells. So if you look carefully at the notes, you have a B flat, which flutes you might remember is like this: thumb, pointer, pointer, pinky. Easy. The next one is a little bit unfamiliar to you, and that's a D flat. So our advanced players know this, but beginning band, all you have to push is your right pinky, and that's it. So you just kind of hold the flute up and play like this. Okay, so we got B flat, D flat. The next one is E flat, which is quite familiar to you guys. You've done this a bunch before. Then we go to what we call the blue note, which is, it says sharp 4. You might recognize that as a hashtag, but of course in music it's the sharp 4, and this is for the flute and bells. It's an E natural like this. Okay, and then familiar F there. Now we have an A flat, and that's the flat 7th scale degree of this B flat scale. You might notice beginning band, we use this note a lot in Blues Adventure, which you can also resource to make up some of your soloing ideas. That's like this: flutes, thumb, 1, 2, 3, and the pinky. And then the B flat at the top of the scale. Okay, so we put that all together, it sounds like this. So that's all the notes on the flute and the bells. Clarinet, we're gonna look at the 3rd scale on that page, and we start with your C. We go up to E flat, which for some of us is unfamiliar. It's kind of like D with 2 fingers, but we push this bottom side button right there. Okay, so that's E flat. All right, another way you can do that if you want to is just the E plus the 1st finger here, same note. Okay, just an alternate. This one sounds a little bit better, the first one I showed you. Then we go to F. Then F sharp with the pointer finger. Then G. And then B flat, which is this really fun one, the kind of pinchers keys here. Okay, so that one is pretty easy. The next one for the clarinets could be hard. And it's C, so you can refer to your book, beginners, but advanced players know this one. It's like both thumbs, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, bottom, front, pinky. Okay, so if you need to review that, just rewind and kind of get those fingerings from the book too, that'll help. Saxophone players, you're gonna be looking at where it says for E flat instruments at the bottom of the page, and you're gonna start with your G without the thumb down. Then you go to B flat. This one's a little bit new for some of us. No thumb still. It's like A plus the right side key, the bottom of these 3 palm keys on the right hand. Sounds like this. Okay, then we go to your C, which is easy. Then we go to C sharp. Then we go to D, which is all the fingers. And then that one on the top there with the natural sign, that's F natural. We also use this in Blues Adventure. And then you go to your high G, which is just like G with the thumb down. So we go all the way through. That's the blues scale for the saxophone. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. West for the brass scales.
All right, guys, so I'm going to start by talking about the trumpet. These fingerings I'm going to talk about for trumpet would also apply to any baritone players out there. And I'll whip out my baritone here in a minute when I talk about trombone. So baritone players and trumpet players, let's go through your notes. I'm going to talk about trumpet notes, but the fingerings for the baritones are the same as well. So trumpets, your C or the baritone B flat is our first note, and that's just open, no fingers at all, right? The next note we go to is another strange one, like Mr. Suchek has been saying. It's going to be for trumpets E flat, and for baritones and trombones D flat. And that's going to be 2-3. 2-3, not to be confused with 1-2. Sounds like this. Cool. Then we go from there, trumpets to F, which we know. Baritones, your E flat, first finger. And then from there, we go to an E natural baritones, or trumpets, an F sharp, which we know this is a note we've used for all of us, beginners and advanced band alike, second finger, not first. F sharp, trumpets, E natural baritones. From there, we go to our G trumpets, which is open, or baritones, your F, which is open. And then we go to trumpets, a B flat. As we're getting higher, we want to try to get a little bit more firm in our embouchure. This is the baritone A flat. It's going to be with our first finger. And then we finish trumpets on our C open, high C, very firm, fast air, which is baritones, your high B flat. So all together, trumpets, I'm going to put all that together and it would sound like this. Cool. I'm going to go through that exact scale. Just I'm going to play it on the baritone and talk more specifically about the trombone notes. Baritones, the note names are the same for you, so if you want more review, feel free to continue listening. We're going to start on our B flat trombones, which is going to be our first position, like this. From there, we're going to go to D flat, which is going to be fifth position. So think about fourth position, just past the bell, and go out just an extra couple of inches there. Then we're going to go to E flat, first finger. We know that one, or first finger, third position trombones. Now we're going to go to a special note called E natural, just a little bit higher, go into second position trombones, which is just a little bit of silver showing on your slides. And then up to F, first position. And then A flat is a note we've used before, third position, not to be confused with A, which is second position. We're going to play A flat, third position. Then we're going to finish on a high C, all the way back into first position trombones. I'm going to go through that on all the way through for the trombones. So just in review, trombones, the positions go 1, 5, 3, 2, 1, 3, 1. I'm going to pass it back to Mr. Suchek. He's going to give the snare drummers a little bit of fun stuff to work on.
All right, so one of the things that's really important for this process is to play swing rhythms, or swung, some people say. So that's kind of a new concept for a lot of us. And what we do is we can play quarter notes the way we always do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Half notes are the same, whole notes are the same. But when we get to eighth notes, we're going to take the second eighth note of each grouping. Like if you were to play it straight, it would be 1 and 2 and. We're going to take the and move it closer to the next number. So we're going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And it kind of gives us a little bit of a shuffle. So we'll practice this, snare drummers, with your right stick if you're right-handed, left if you're left. It doesn't matter which one, but put one on the rim like this, kind of on the edge of your drum, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So you can kind of do that a bunch, and that's what we call a swing pattern. Obviously, you can vary that in any way that you want to. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Anything like that. And then take your other hand, and you can play on 2 and 4 if you want to, or not. Just kind of find ways to interject on the actual head of the snares. Just mix some things up, and a good use of the swing rhythm too is if you play triplets. triplet, 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 triplet. Okay, so those are some ways that you can actually improvise on top of this backing track that we're going to use. So let's talk about that backing track. It's in a link on this exact post, and I'm going to go ahead and just explain what you can do. So if you're a beginning band student, I would recommend starting with Blues Adventure because those notes work really well. If you want to take the like flutes, the D, and make that a flat note, that'll sound really cool. Clarinets, you can make your E an E flat every time you sing it if you want to do that. Saxophones, you can make your B a B flat. Similar for the brass people, you can make the trumpet E and E flat instead, and it sounds really cool. But this backing track is fun because all you have to do is pick a couple notes. Doesn't matter if you go up or down. You can also go outside of the octave that these are written in and just play around with it. So I'm going to demonstrate with my clarinet just a little bit of this backing track for you guys. You're going to hear 2 clicks and then 4 clicks, and it'll get started. That's just the C clarinets. E flat. You want to make rhythms kind of interesting. Vary the rhythm, change note length. Kind of get the idea. So just pick some stuff up. Flute players, same thing. Still the same track. Okay. Saxes, you can do the same thing. Anyway, that's stop there, but it's really fun actually. I'm having a blast doing this myself. But if you play along with this backing track and just make things up, use kind of this as a guidance path with the blues scale. Again, like I said, you can reference Blues Adventure. Just use some measures in there. It'll sound awesome. I'm going to give it back to Mr. West for a second. We're going to get out of here.
Yeah, guys. So this can be an overwhelming and potentially confusing lesson, but really just to kind of recap everything that Mr. Suchik has been talking about, the gist of it is we gave you these 7 notes to choose from at the beginning of the lesson, 1 instrument at a time. If that's too overwhelming, just pick 2 of them, 2 or 3 of them. Open up this link that we're going to post along with our video to that music Mr. Suchik was just playing. And like Mr. Suchik said, just experiment with those 2 or 3 notes. Okay, if you feel ambitious and you feel really like you are up for a better challenge, then go ahead and try to explore all 7 notes. The idea is just to get you comfortable playing by yourself and to get you comfortable playing music that isn't written down right in front of you. All right, so choose your challenge level. 1 note maybe is enough for you, 2 notes, 3 notes, or the whole scale. And like Mr. Suchik said, just make up notes and rhythms as you play that little YouTube video over top.
Great, guys. That was fun to see you again. I hope we can see you in person very soon. Have fun with this, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.
Have a good weekend.